The condition of women in the Arab world represents one of the most interesting topics for a Western lecturer. The Arab woman is often confused with the Muslim one. This happens because the Arab Muslim civilization and cultural expansion took place through the Arabic language, the Quran language, and for this reason, every Muslim is supposed to know it. The Arab world consists of countries situated in the Middle East, North Africa, in a part of the Sahara Desert, and the Horn of Africa. The condition of women in the Arab countries is an issue I care about since I was little. I was born in Italy, but my parents are Egyptians, so every day since I was a kid, I have to deal with two opposite mentalities. Over time, I understood that mentality could not be any different because it is nothing but the result of concepts inculcated in their young minds and that cannot be put in doubt because the enforcement of the religious law over every citizen. The Arab world is characterized by a both economic and technological delay if compared to other societies. In this context, women have suffered the Arab countries' history in a totally passive way. They live in an awkward social condition, defined by a lack of prospects and material poverty. This involution causes a self-perpetuating process. Even if they don't have the right to express their values in society, women's duty is that to give education to children. In order to understand the current women's issue, it is important to be familiar with their condition in the pre-Islamic Arabia. The desert area of the Arab Peninsula was characterized by a pastoral nomadism practiced by Bedouins in its northern and central areas. The southern areas were inhabited by sedentary populations. The sedentary inhabitants and the nomad desert tribes had peaceful and economic relationships that took place in Mecca, an important religious and commercial center. In this context, the Arab woman condition supposed to be totally shameful, without rights and completely undignified and disrespectful. She was sold or killed at birth only because female. In this period, men introduced the concept of polygamous marriage, in which only with the advent of Islam the number of wives is reduced to 4. Islam is a monotheistic religion teaching that there is only one God and that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Among the large number of wives, it is recognized the extraordinary nature of Khadija, first wife and follower of the Islamic Prophet, always ready to help him in his work, proclaiming his message and investing her wealth in the mission, and Aisha, known for her struggle against the successor caliphs. These women make hard to understand why their role had been belittled to date. Today, the Arab world is divided between Maghreb and Mashrek, the first one that consists of countries with an homogeneous tradition imposed to women virginity and the consequent seclusion at the first sign of poverty, early marriage and maternity, obligation to wear the sefsari, domestic duties, and obedience to the father and to the husband. The second one, that comprehends the most traditional countries on a hand and the most reactionary on the other, recognizes a considerable contribution of women, especially in revolutionary circumstances of the Arab history, in which they emancipated and alliterated themselves. Generally, there are two female characters, the mother and the pleasure woman. The major part of women have always been part of the mother category. They are beloved, flattered, and revered. While man has a strong affective bond with his mother, daughters establish a more necessity-based relationship. The character of revered mother reaches its peak once menopause comes, an assurance on the danger of having illegitimate children. She has the responsibility of deciding her children's marriages and alliances. She also deals with childbirth, fecundity, and love-making tips. Even now, in order to create alliances, the partners to marry are chosen by families. In many countries, women are obliged to get married during adolescence in order to exonerate the family from daughter's nourishment, of which the husband is going to look after on one side, and to maintain the primordial value of virginity on the other. A properly woman is personified in the girl that leaves her father's house to get married. This character is the opposite of the divorced woman that has no place in society. The antithetical figure to mother is that of pleasure woman. Currently, man divides his life between her and woman of duty, that is, his wife and the mother of his children. The pleasure woman is nothing but a retelling of the Jariya, the slaves that in the past could become powerful concubines of kings. Generally, Arab Islamic women are considered inferior and subservient to men. In some countries, this discrimination is more marked than in others. Taking inspiration from Occidental feminism, they began expecting their rights, giving birth to the so-called alibi woman. Among the women that succeed in the feat of expressing themselves, there are Phenomena Kulthum, a national icon in her native Egypt, introduced in the show business dressed as a boy, and Tawakkul Karman, that received the Nobel Peace Prize for having fought a non-violent struggle in favor of women's security and rights. But those are nothing more than exceptions. Even now, in fact, a woman cannot exercise her rights as a free person and choose her position as a citizen. The Arabs hindered any kind of intellectual progress. In fact, all the Arab countries have in common a low level of female literacy, caused by cultural and economic issues, technological power and scientific research, due to the fear of getting against the religious vision of the world, and protection of social and personal rights that leads to a female consistent marginalization from participating in social and political life of her own country. It is as if woman aims to get married young and have kids. In Kuwait, women get married at 15. In Yemen, the number of child brides is scandalous. It is important to mention also the condition of Saudi women that, for example, have no right to be equally processed and need the tutor permission to undergo a surgery, move, and get married. Fortunately, some countries such as Tunisia and Egypt have succeeded in changing the constitution. In the first one, polygamy and veil are prohibited, and both of them recognize gender equality and guarantee women's rights, but there are only exceptions. Arabs still have such a long way to go towards modernization, but it's certain that once alphabetized in the better conditions possible with high-level education systems, she could carry out a democracy in her society, an objective that can be achievable only through a social, legal, economic, and political equality.